start a podcast.
Alpha, read us escape. Recruit a team of
Podcasters
with attitudes.
All new Culture Cast. All new Culture Cast. All new Culture Cast. All new Culture Cast.
I am the Gorehound.
And I am Nick.
And we are the all-new Culture Cast, back for the latest edition.
And this week we are doing, we're following up from last week's episode where we had a retrospective of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We actually are looking at a brand new movie that just came out, the Saban's Power Rangers.
Yes.
Which is a reboot of or reimagination, I don't know, an adaptation of the...
Yeah, it's not going in order.
TV show.
Right, it's not going in order because the TV series is still going strong, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know if the TV shows, all the series have continuity between them, but yeah, that show has been going hardcore since 93. Like every year they have a new season.
Yeah, I feel like this one was just like a reboot of straight up the only thing that me and you watched. Which is awesome because we didn't watch anything else.
Yeah, and I think most people, when they think of Power Rangers, they're going to think of that first iteration when it was like the pop culture phenomenon.
Right, and maybe if you were like born like 92 or later, you might be more interested in the later generations of that.
Wild Force.
Yeah. Oh, and they were wizards. I saw that they were wizards one year.
They were. Of course they were.
Yeah, because I've been doing all this reading up on and research on Power Rangers because after doing our last podcast and then seeing the movie, it's going crazy in me.
You want to learn more.
Yeah.
And
It's weird.
There's like a part of me like, I should watch this. And then there's another sensible part of me that's like, no,
yeah.
you'll regret
No, you
it.
shouldn't. But yes, you should. So yeah, like we said, we are talking primarily about the movie that we just saw this past weekend, Power Rangers 2017.
And it when we're recording this, it just opened up like a week, or I'm sorry, like 3-4 days ago. So, and this episode won't go up for another week. So there's a little disconnect. Gorehound and I actually saw a movie the weekend it opened, which is a rarity for both
fresh.
of us. That's fun. Do we want to do our regular segments, or do we want to?
Yes, I have. Okay, I'm.
What have you been watching?
No.
Oh, okay.
Man crush of the week.
Does
that come afterwards? Oh my gosh, I'm an awful podcaster. I'm an awful podcaster. I'm an awful friend who tells you you're doing
your own show.
Who tells you you're doing shit wrong. Okay. Why don't you start us off with what have you been watching?
I will start us off. You can't handle the responsibility.
Apparently not.
What have you been watching?
Now, it's funny because we just recorded the retrospective a few days ago, so I really haven't had time to watch anything, but something that I have been getting into or doing a little bit was I think I mentioned to you when we had dinner the other day that I'm trying to get into basketball again.
Yeah.
I used to love it when I was a kid, and I kind of want to get back into it. So I'm easing myself in and getting myself familiar again with the Chicago Bulls. But one of the things that since I started watching some basketball games is I got the nostalgia to play NBA Jam on my Sega Genesis.
I was just about to say that, like, is this like reuniting or reemerging any flame for like old video games?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so I pulled out my NES and I plugged it into my my TV upstairs. Because the NES, the Genesis. Because the Genesis plugged in with like an antenna cable, even though it's an older system, it shows pretty good on the high def screen, which amazed me. Usually you don't get that good of a resolution, but I was playing it and oh my god, I was terrible because I haven't played in 20 years.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to crack out and play that.
Yeah, I'm not much of a sports fan, but there was NFL Blitz, which I just loved that sport game because it was so crazy and there were no rules, and I was good at that. Mm-hmm. But I think if you added any more rules, I would not have played.
There are very few rules in NBA Jam.
Yeah.
I just remember
that's
that
just
being
the one
game.
where it's the 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember there were codes you could put
The
in
big
and
head.
unlock. I know. Well, I don't remember that one. There's probably one. There's a ton of them. But
Yeah, that was the one that I remembered, was the big head code.
I remember there's one where you could put in a code and you could play as Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
Was he in a suit or just the head?
He was like just the head.
Yeah.
And so like I'm trying to find on the screen where I put these codes in. I couldn't find it. So I'm like I gotta look this up because I want to play as Bill Clinton. I just remember that and I was just like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
It was so stupid, but I was amused by it.
Yeah. Those old games are weird and they have such a draw and attraction. It's like, how can we play them for so long? But I busted out some Sonic and I could just play that game. Just keep on going and cruising because it's something about those old games which not only like revive or like get you thinking about nostalgia and whatnot and bringing you back, but they're fun and they keep you engaged in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a charm there. The only thing that sucks nowadays is that when you try to play things on like your on a PS2 or a Nintendo 64 or something, like those systems weren't designed to have HD in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So when you play it on a bigger screen or a HD screen, it doesn't quite work.
Yeah, it just magnifies how awful it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm surprised how well the Genesis looked. I am actually surprised at that. I have an adapter, and it works. I think we played that. We played a Battlefield. Oh, not Battlefield.
Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
On the PS2 a couple of months ago. It's just, it does the job, but I don't know. It almost makes me want, if I played those systems more regularly, it almost makes me want to get like a CRT TV just to play those games on.
Yeah.
Because that's like, you'll actually get it at how it's supposed to look. But
Yeah, I can see that.
But anyway, that's all that's been going on with me. What about you? What have you been watching?
Just Iron Fist is getting so difficult to sit through. Like I said, I thought that I had like 2 hours left. I was like, okay, I'm going to finish this off. And then I saw that it had like 3 more episodes, so 5 hours total. I'm like, I can't sit through this shit. And there was like one episode where like there was one fight and it didn't even have Iron Fist in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So I'm going to finish it off, but I am just like so pissed off at this thing. And been playing Mass Effect like crazy. I'm really getting into it and it's so much fun. It took me like honest 2 hours to like figure out how to play. But once I did, I got so into it, and there was like one level where I played it for like 45 minutes and I could not progress past this one point. And I kept on playing and playing and playing it. I was like, this is why I play video games. Is because like I get to these points where I can't beat it and I just get so frustrated and I hate myself and I walk away and then I come back and I beat it the first time and it's just like it teaches you patience but also a great sense of satisfaction
when you finally actually get to beat it.
Yeah, and you're like, nice. Not much else since we spoke 4 days ago.
Right. So let's go on to Man Crush.
Man Crush.
Yes, this will be short. Dax Shepard.
Because of the Chips movie?
Honestly, yes. Dax Shepard is a weird guy. The first time that I saw him was in Idiocracy.
Was he in that?
Yeah, he was like the lead idiot in the movie.
Okay.
So
long since I saw it.
Yeah, he was in there. It wasn't as big of a role as Luke Wilson got, but it was legit. And so after that, I really didn't see him in much else. He was in Parenthood, which I really hated. Have you watched that one? Okay. The Graveyard Queen watches that. She used to watch that quite a bit, and I just hated it because, like, every time I walked in, somebody was crying, and I was like, that's not a fun TV series. And in that, I really saw, like, his character develop. He's becoming more of, like, an adult as compared to my interpretation of him in Idiocracy. But then I saw him, or I listened to this interview, Anna Faris is Unqualified, a 2-parter with him, and I like got a lot of respect for him. Like, it was, I think just like as soon as like some celebrity like goes on a whim and goes into a podcast, I think they like break a veil and they're just like a different kind of celebrity at that point where they're like they actually want to connect with me. and not just like make money off of me, because podcasts are free and they're not making any promotional gain off of this other than, getting their name out. So it was impressive. And then I saw the trailer, and actually I think it might have been like a few podcasts. Oh, that's it. That's my note says MM/Dax Shepard. And I thought the MM was for Man Crush, which clearly it does not stand for.
Okay.
But it was a Mark Maron podcast where Dax Shepard was on, and they were talking about Chips, and like Dax Shepard like wrote it, directed it, and starred in it. And I was like, that is impressive, but I know that he can do it because he's a very talented guy. I just have this image of him that I'm never going to be able to give up from him in Idiocracy. The premise of the movie does not seem interesting. I'm not really it's a comedy, and it's a buddy cop comedy. Yeah. So I'm like doubly not interested in it, but I'm going to go see it just because I've got a lot of respect for him now.
Okay, well you tell me how it is, and you better see it soon before it leaves theaters forever.
Yeah.
Because it is flopping big time.
I hope it does good. Because he was even talking about like he's hoping that he could come off with like 3 other movies after this.
Like for Chips?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with that guy.
Yes. Good luck. I want to see more of them.
Well,
since I don't know the
potatoes.
Yeah, since I don't understand the content of our podcast, where are we at right now?
The next thing we do is we talk about the actual movie of the week.
The podcast topic. All right.
Yes.
So yeah, we saw it in theaters. What were your initial impressions?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah?
I thought it did not disappoint at all.
At all.
Well, I mean, there are things in there, obviously. But I was amazed at how much I thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it was better than I had expected. Because even as I look at reviews right now, critics aren't seeming to enjoy it that much, but user reviews are outstanding. And I think that it says a lot about its cult status, which...
Yeah, I was about to say, it's one of those films that, and I hate using this term, but the critics aren't going to like it, but its target audience is going to love it. So, I mean, it set out what it accomplished what it set out to do.
Yeah, since this is a 2017 movie, we couldn't get around the origin story idea of it, where I think maybe the first, I don't know, maybe like 5 minutes we see like the what are they called? The Power Stones or something?
Oh yeah, let's just call them that. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah,
the Power Stones.
So we actually get to see the origin of those and like who Zordon is and whatnot.
And Rita, in this version, Rita's a former ranger who went bad.
Which it does add an element to the mythos, the story, because before we went into that movie theater, I saw a poster for the green helmet, and I was like, nice, the Green Ranger's going to have an appearance, which I guess
technically, I guess that's
he
true.
did, which is a really a curveball for me, because I was hoping to see him in there. But yeah, she was the Green Ranger at one point in time, but then used the Infinity Stone, or the Power Stone.
Infinity Stone.
Same thing,
Wrong
right?
franchise. So yeah, probably is, yeah.
Yeah, they'll do a crossover eventually.
Yeah, the thing, let's go over the story a little bit, is that you have these 5 teenagers who all have their own issues going on, and they all find themselves in one spot where they find the stones, and they start to train so they can become the Power Rangers to stop Rita, who recently was resurrected from finding the Zeo crystal, which does something.
Yeah, the Zeo crystal, yes.
I don't know what it does, but it does something, and it's underneath the Krispy Kreme because they tell us this several times.
Yeah, had to get that corporate branding in there.
Oh my God, yeah, we'll talk about that. And so they're trying to train, and they're not doing well because they all have to be on the same page. They all have to be cohesive in order for them to morph and get their suits and fight Rita and save Angel Grove. So that's pretty much the film. The Power Rangers don't actually show up until like the last half hour of the movie.
Well, their morphid forms.
When they actually become the Power Rangers, like they don't. It's morphin time. They don't actually do that until the last like half hour, which was a surprising move because you would think that they'd have them show up, at least at the midpoint of the movie. But they hold off, and here's the thing that I liked about the movie so much is I like that they held off because you really got to know these characters and what made them tick and what made them sort of
Yeah, it really did instill a sense of family amongst them, and I don't know, I'm kind of torn between whether because I really wanted to see them morph right off the bat. I wanted to see the start off with an action scene, a fight scene, because the only thing that I'm coming off of is the TV series and the movie, where the TV series is just like craziness in all of itself, and in the movie we start off with what I thought was like one of the most badass intros ever, was the air dive with the snowboard and the rollerblading combo in the first 10 minutes. So that's what I was coming off of, and that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see action right off the bat. So it was a little bit unexpected for me, but on a side note, I skimmed the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie from the 90s, and that scene actually isn't as cool as I imagined. It's a lot slower and not as crazy, but it was still fun, and I could see how my, 8-year-old self would have been enthralled in this, because Tommy was so badass, and Kimberly and him were just like so together, and it was just like, that's what I want to be. But yeah, getting back to the movie, I think you encapsulated the story behind it quite a bit. I think what's really holding the story together very well is the crew, the 5 Power Rangers, their relationships, because they weren't all, yes, they all came from different situations, but they were all very, very different. Like the Yellow Ranger was very distant for most of it.
Distant and mysterious.
Whereas the Blue Ranger,
Billy?
Billy. Billy was like dropped right in front of our faces. He was kind of like the de facto leader until Jason decided, or was told by Zordon that he was the leader.
Well, Billy was definitely driving the story, because he was the one who liked finding the crystals, and he liked looking at things, and he was just sort of like doing his science thing that propelled the story along, and then Jason needed to step up to be the actual leader. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like each of these characters, I would say the Yellow Ranger and the Black Ranger probably got the least amount of development, but they focused on the red, the pink, and the blue the most. But those 2 other characters, it still worked because they were given enough to do where they were developed. Like, they were 3-dimensional characters. Like in the old show, it was pretty much I am the jock, so I shall lead.
They fit very well into their stereotypes. The Pink Ranger was very impressive. I liked her.
She was cool.
Yeah, I actually feel like she was more attractive than Kimberly, the Pink Ranger from the original.
The classic Amy Jo Johnson.
Yeah. She really kept the male audience's attention on her.
Well, she's the actress Naomi Scott. She has a unique, I don't want to say unique background, but she has a.
And I've seen her in something else. Do you know what that something else is? It's a TV show. It was a short-lived TV show on Fox.
Oh, Terra Nova.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone actually watched that show.
Oh my gosh, we watched it. It was really bad, but it was also really fun. So because it was basically like a ripoff of Lost, and
she must have been really young in that show.
Yeah, she was.
Because that was a couple years ago that came out.
Yeah, she was. I want to say like acting as like a 14-year-old or something like that. So. But yeah. Then Jason as the Red Ranger really fit into his leadership role, and it developed well. Like, he didn't just like jump right into it. He went through his, I'm not suited to be a leader, and I don't want to work for you, and all that.
Can I speak about Jason? That beginning sequence where we meet his character, like at the beginning of the movie, for those of you who haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there's spoilers in this podcast if you didn't figure that out already.
Yeah.
But at the very beginning, where he's doing some football prank, because he's a star quarterback, and he is talking about, he brings a cow in or something, police find him, and so you see, like, the camera, when he's fleeing the cops, he jumps in a car, and the camera is positioned
right behind
the it's like at the center of the car, and the camera continues to spin, so you see everything that's going on. I thought that was such a like you see the cops like driving in the background trying to chase him and.
But you liked it?
Yeah, I thought I've never seen anything done like that in a movie, and I thought it was like a unique way of depicting that.
Yes, it was certainly unique. I've not seen that before, but it was not a good start for me because I had no idea what was going on, and that early in a movie, I don't want to be confused what's going on, unless that's the purpose of the movie, like Memento. I want simplicity in the first few minutes, but it was not doing it for me. But we did find that what's his name? David Denman, Roy Anderson from The Office was his dad, which was so cool because we're not taking this movie very seriously, but then we see Roy and we're like, oh, Roy.
Roy from The Office, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was still acting, so good for him. Good for him to get into a big budget Hollywood movie.
Yeah, he did have, I think it was like 4 solid scenes total.
Yeah. He coincidentally he finds Rita like in the same day that the kids find the stones. That's okay,
yeah.
That's a nice little coincidence going on there.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there was a cut scene somewhere. Like she was like maybe encased in the rocks, and when they opened it and they blew it up, it blew her out. I don't know, but it just it's just one of those. Okay.
Yeah, from a biological standpoint, that does not hold up. She would not be, a desiccated old woman on the bottom of the ocean when the stones were like encased in rock over millions of years.
Yeah.
But this movie wasn't about consistency
or realism or anything. You just gotta have to go with it.
I think the biggest example of that was the car crash.
Which one?
The first car crash where they crashed the minivan. How does Billy's parents not get suspicious or like ground him or anything like that?
Yeah, they never. At first I thought it's one of those because they had the stones and they wake up in their beds, and it's one of those I thought, oh, maybe like everything got reset.
Yeah, or like reversed.
But later on, you see them pulling the car wreckage from the train.
Yeah.
So yeah, that they don't quite go over that. Another plot hole in the movie is that what's his name? The Red Ranger has a security bracelet, a security monitor on his ankle, and Billy deactivates it, and then when he gets his powers, it like just falls off, and it's never mentioned again in the movie.
Well, I mean, I suppose that if Billy did make it set default to his house coordinates, as long as that's in the house, it shouldn't be an issue. Oh, well, I guess he would need to report into school.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That and like the fact that when like you see it later on that it's like broken off his leg, like that would send some sort of signal, or like his parents. His parents should know Jason should be home right now. He's not home. Let's go send the cops after him.
Yeah, all the parents are just like, we don't care what our kids are doing. I'm sure they're up to no good, but I don't care.
Well, the interesting thing is like they with Zach's parent, and they kind of explain that away.
Right.
And Trini's parent sort of explains that away as well.
Wait, what is her story?
Her parents were really uptight, and she.
Oh yeah, pee in the cup.
Yeah, and like they allude that she might be gay, so there's she's like, whatever, I'm doing my own thing. But I don't think we ever see Kimberly's parents, or if we do, it's very, very short.
Yeah, because her thing, all of their stories were just very simple. Like that, you get this one point, and that is who they are. And hers was she was a popular girl.
Yeah, she was a popular girl, and she was a mean girl. She did something really bad.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, and when they're in detention, and she goes into detention, goes to the bathroom, cuts her hair, and she walks back, and she is just the finest piece of ass this room has ever seen, and all she did was cut her hair by like 4 inches. It's just like
everyone's like hooting and hollering and all that.
Yeah, and the teacher's just like, okay. But I mean that's just what adds to the fun of this movie, because it is over the top. It's not reality. They have updated this since 1993, but they still keep a lot of the heart that made it great back then.
Yeah, totally. Going back to the characters for a second, like there's one character, Billy is autistic, and there's another character. Obviously, we mentioned Trini is gay. Was it just before the movie came out, and it was reported, oh, this is what's going to be in the movie? People were like losing their shit, like, oh, they just want people. They're just trying to sell you on diversity, so you come and see it. If you don't see it, you're gonna be bad, and they're just trying to trick you into seeing it. But you know what? It's handled so well in the movie. Like it's important that these characters, like, it's not like a gimmick. It's not like just something that they're saying, hey. It's handled well. It's handled maturely, and it actually there's a purpose behind it, and it serves the story and their characters. So I really appreciated that. That was good.
We were missing Bulk and Skull from this one, and pretty much the entire characters that they gave. We did have one bully.
Yeah, that Ginger, the redhead kid.
Which...
That could have been Bulk or Skull. Why couldn't they just have him in there?
Yeah. I mean, we could have had like a new and updated version of it, because it's such an easy, bully duo to pull off. But
they could have easily been in detention with them.
Yeah.
And like when the redhead kid, he like tries to give Billy a headbutt when he has his powers, and he just knocks himself out. That is such a Bulk and Skull move.
Yeah.
So like the funny thing is, They named the kid, like I don't remember what it was, but they referenced his name, and like, why'd you just make up a name? You had perfectly good bullies in the original series, but whatever. Maybe they'll bring him in the sequel if they make a sequel.
Yeah, there is a lot of room to move in these sequels, and I'm looking forward to it because I would love to see 3 of them, and I really hope that they just do Power Rangers 1, 2, and 3.
Well, their story, they say that they want to make up to 6 of these.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much story there is, but I'm all in if they do it. I'm down for number 2 and 3, and
maybe this one we'll see like the over the top snowboarding scene. Yeah, snowboarding. That's the intro that we want to see in the next one is snowboarding down.
That's so 90s though. They gotta have something that's in the teens now. What's the new version of extreme sports?
Extreme is pretty outdated.
Yeah. So what is it now?
I don't know.
Is it like social media? They'll just be tweeting #GoGo.
Yeah, going live on Facebook.
Yeah, live on Facebook. So speaking of things that are present in this movie, let's talk about Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yeah, selling out, man. But
there's been a lot of people complaining about this online, and it didn't bother me. I actually thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And there's like a hidden joke there because the Krispy Kreme donuts gets totally destroyed in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess they could have said like, oh, it's underneath the donut shop, and then have like a generic like Jim's Donuts or something like that. But
yeah, no, I'm glad that it was something, I guess, more local, and it wasn't like a cell phone dealer or something like Google or Facebook. Just something that's like, simple. It's not a huge corporation, and it's a donut shop. Like, if it was Dunkin' Donuts, it might be a little bit, more corporate sellouty, but
I don't know. Krispy Kreme is still pretty corporate.
Not as corporate as Dunkin' Donuts is.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It makes me want to have a Krispy Kreme donut.
Yeah, they're solid donuts.
Unfortunately, like, I wish I could be eating them right now, but for Lent, for those of our listeners, I'm Catholic, and for Lent I'm doing this special diet thing where, with the exception of a couple of days here and there in social outings, but for the most part, I'm sticking to this Whole30 style diet where I can't have sugars and wheats and things like that. They say it's healthier for you, and I'm all about eating healthier, but sadly, Krispy Kreme donuts is not a part of that diet.
Yeah. Is the Kiwi doing it too?
So, well, she's Lutheran, so she's doing it with me, but she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Because Lutherans don't give up anything for Lent. That's I guess a Catholic thing. So Can we talk about the song and how the song was barely in the movie?
Yeah, because I watched a new or one of the old episodes really because I wanted to just see what I had forgot. And yeah, the song was in it so much. Like the last 10 minutes was just the song on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome, and it never got old. I mean, for the 10 minutes that I was listening to it.
And it's in the movie for like, what, 30 seconds?
Yeah, and it was so disappointing because I wanted to hear it. I honestly wanted to hear it the moment that I stepped into that movie theater. But I was like, I'll wait until the credits are done. But
They had like over the end credits, they had like a instrumental version of it. But
yeah.
like when they're doing the main credits, like before the post credit scene, they should have totally had that song play.
Yeah.
Like when they're saying but they didn't, and I'm bummed that they didn't. Maybe
Yeah.
in the sequel they'll be like, all right, we got this out of the way. Now let's have some fun.
Yeah, I did want to see who actually does do the new one.
Wasn't it just the original song they brought back?
No. Oh, no. Oh, apparently it was the original.
But it is odd that they didn't have like a cover band do like a modern version of it, like
yeah.
like some like boy band or something like that.
Yeah,
Kinda
One
like we're talking
Direction
about
or something like
Direction. Kanye West.
that. Yeah. Oh, Kanye did do the one song over the boss battle, though I honestly thought that it should have been Gold Digger because he was made of gold, but it was not that song.
I like how they threw a little shade onto the Transformers movie when they blew up. I think it was like Yellow Camaro, and it was
Oh yeah.
sorry Bumblebee.
Yeah.
It's like, take that, Michael Bay in Transformers movies.
Yeah, there was a Transformers trailer before the movie.
It's true.
I just don't know when they're gonna stop.
When they stop making money.
Oh my gosh.
They want to make like at least one more after this one, and they want to have a bunch of spin-offs.
Yeah. And Mark is doing it because he's just like, this is awesome. I love doing this shit.
It's like an easy paycheck.
Yeah, and it's fun. You get to hang out with Megan Fox for like a few days, and you're like, nice.
Oh, Megan Fox hasn't been in it forever.
I thought she was in. I thought I saw her.
It was probably just another girl that looked like Megan Fox. But
Yeah.
they have a type like, all right, you fit, you're in.
Yeah, we can't afford Megan, so let's find a lookalike.
They need to bring back Shia.
Oh my gosh, Shia. He is waiting to be Man Crush of the Week. Just give me an excuse, bro. Just give me an excuse.
Like whenever they do like the last main Transformer movie, they have to bring back Shia as some sort of. He was like so big in those like first.
As a Transformer?
Yeah, okay, let's make him a Transformer.
That'd be great.
He'll have a bag over his head. As not a human anymore.
I did watch a YouTube video of him like hardcore rapping for like 10 minutes straight. And he was actually like really good, and it was quite impressive. I mean, I'm not quite the connoisseur of rap.
Why not?
Because I'm a white guy.
Pretty fly for a white guy.
He was really good, but this podcast is not about Shia LaBeouf, as great as he is.
Maybe we should do a Shia LaBeouf podcast. What else can we say about the Power Rangers? All right, there you have it, folks.
Yeah, there's a lot more to talk about, but nothing is coming to mind because I've pretty much every single person I've told that I saw the movie and I'm doing a podcast on has had like a strong opinion on it, and they were like really excited about it. Because yeah, like user reviews are so high with this movie because people just love it and they want to see it.
It's not a bad movie. It's entertaining. It has a lot of cliches, but the characters kept me invested in what was going on. It's disappointing.
They really did draw you back into the story.
Yeah. It's disappointing that they waited until like the last 30 minutes to have the Power Rangers in their costumes show up, but everything else was going so good that you didn't need it. I mean, I guess you could have had like an action scene earlier on in the movie when they're trying to figure out their powers, like, hey, let's go try to stop a crime, and they don't know what they're doing or something like that. I don't know, but I liked it. I mean, I wish more superhero films took their time building and dealt with this character development, which I really liked. So And it's one of the reasons why I like the last two Wolverine movies is that it focused more on character development than actually, we have to stop the villain and we must fight now.
The villain in this movie was obviously Rita Repulsa, but she had made Goldar was his name?
Goldar.
Yeah. Which I honestly believe that the Wolf Goldar from the original series was better.
Yeah.
And more fun because this was just all CGI. Yes, it was very good CGI. But
it looked cool, but it's just not the same. Like
Right.
that Goldar, he was such a goof.
yeah, he was so great. He was almost like cuddly. It was just like, oh, Goldar.
Like the old Goldar. It's kind of like, I don't know, you're so incompetent, but we love you anyway, you knucklehead.
Yeah, you'll still be a villain on the next step. Don't worry.
I hope they bring back that version of Goldar. Like, I hope they didn't just like kill him. Oh wait, what were you telling me about how you were disappointed how they killed Goldar in the movie?
Oh yeah, because the entire movie, Rita Repulsa is harvesting gold to make this Goldar. So obviously he is made of nothing but gold, and so basically the Megazord stabs Goldar in the heart, but he doesn't have a heart because he's made completely of gold. And you see him like melting and then like reforming. So you know like there's nothing inside of him. So how come you stab? It's like stabbing like a pool of water. It's
like you can, but what good does it do?
Right. I was thinking like I really honestly expected it to happen, but I wanted them to go T2 on this, where they dumped him into the
molten lava.
Right, and that would do it because it worked on the T800, and I'm sure it would work on him too.
Magic wand, make my Goldar grow!
And I knew I couldn't expect it, but I was hoping that Alpha 5 would still be a person in costume. But
nah, it's CGI.
Yeah, we've moved past that.
But voiced by Bill Hader, who's used to be on SNL, was in the movie Trainwreck, and was one of the voices of BB-8, which BB-8 actually had a voice actor, surprisingly.
Yeah.
It's like, why does BB-8 need a voice actor? I don't know. He just beeps, but, there you go.
That is the attention of detail that movie had. That's crazy.
So would you recommend Saban's Power Rangers?
Yeah. To only somebody who is excited to see it. Like, I don't know if the Graveyard Queen would really be into it, because I was playing the movie and some episodes last night, and I might have been yelling at the TV quite a bit, but she was clearly annoyed. Maybe at me, maybe at the TV, but it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I can see that. Because as you can see in, if you're friends with the All New Culture Cast and the Gorehound on Facebook, you will see the photo of me on there, and the Gorehound sister is clearly not excited to be a Pink Ranger. But she did it because she's a good sister. But yeah, this isn't everybody's thing, but if you had any connection to any of the 25 years of this, you're going to enjoy it.
You could also see half of that picture as our image from last week.
Yes.
I edited out the Gorehound's sister because I don't know if she would have appreciated being in the picture, even though her face is covered. So.
Right.
Even still.
Everybody would have known.
I'm looking at the picture right now.
Yeah.
Your hands are up. Like, I saw you, I'm like, when I first saw the picture, your hands are up. I'm like, what is he doing? But then you explained it to me earlier, so...
Yeah. For anybody who wasn't familiar, in the original series, there's, like, one cutscene where as they're morphing, there's, like, there's obviously montage like crazy, but when all of them are in the one scene together and they're kind of like holding up their icons, the Red Ranger's in the middle and he's holding up like his Tyrannosaurus Rex icon. And for some reason, my 6-year-old self decided that this was the one scene that I wanted to emulate in my Halloween photo. So, I don't know.
I like how the costumes have like the image, the dinosaur image on the chest.
Yeah.
Even though the show never did that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's great. I'd recommend this movie too. I thought it was fun. I look forward. I hope they make a sequel. I would be down for that. I want to see what they do with the Green Ranger.
Oh, so excited! Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, stick around. Not until the very end.
Like we did.
Yeah.
We're in the movie theater, and they have like the scene right after the main credits, and then we're like, well, is there something else? We're like, I don't know, because lots of times, thanks to Marvel Comics,
Yeah.
they'll have like multiple scenes. So we asked like the theater usher who's standing there with the like the little mints, and we're like, hey, is there like a scene at the end? And he's like, I don't know. I turned to him like, do you want to just stay? And like, yeah, all right. And we wasted our time. So
Hey, we gave the movie creators their
Their
respect.
due.
Yes.
yes, we found out who the best boy was. So
Yeah.
that's what we needed. And
Thank
the key
you,
grip.
Gaffer.
Good time. So that's all I got. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm good. All right. Well, yeah, let's close this bad boy out. You have any closing thoughts?
No, I think I've said everything.
And in that case, this has been your latest edition of the All New CultureCast, and I am the Gorehound,
And I'm Nick.
and we are the All New CultureCast. Catch you next week.
You've been listening to the all-new Culture Cast, one of Chicagoland's finest podcasts.
Fall asleep to death.
Blog at znculturecast.wordpress.culturecast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback, comments, and requests. Follow us on social media. Theme music by Ben Saltwater Production. Copyright 2017. Thanks for listening.